Without an antidote to the tranquilizer, he'd be dead in 30 minutes. The race was on to get him to safety. News of the missing grizzly bear and the chaos it caused quickly hit the headlines.
You started to really get the realisation of the enormity of what had happened and where on earth was he? He was our big baby. He'd lived with us, you know, we were pals. He depended on you and we'd such fun with him. It was a nightmare then. Andy was crying into his pillow and I was crying into mine, but he pretended it wasn't happening. Even thinking about it now, it just makes me really sad.
Local police were concerned that a giant runaway grizzly posed serious risk to human life. They launched an immediate bear hunt involving islanders, the media, and even the army. But there were no sightings. Hercules had vanished.
Planes in the sky, and every day they were going back and forward looking for him. Private planes, other planes, every kind of plane you could get. Boats were looking for him. Everybody was looking for him, but they couldn't get a sign of him.
I was up in a plane and we went back and forward. There was nothing, not a trace.
For 8 days, Andy and Maggie scoured the island, day and night, but found no sign of him.
Everybody helped, they really did. Young and old and fit, and everybody helped. They found nothing. As time passed, the chances of finding Hercules alive and well were getting smaller and smaller.
The general consensus amongst the searchers was that Hercules had drowned. The search was called off. Devastated, Andy and Maggie made the 8-hour journey back to Sheriff Muir without Hercules.
I was just at that rock bottom stage. We went home and we were in bed the first night, and Andy woke up in the morning early and he said, "I'm going back up. My big man's alive up there. I'm not leaving him up there in the zone. I'll be there when we find him." So, gosh, I still get, that's quite, sorry.
Andy refused to give up on his star bear. He headed straight back to the islands to continue the search. Alone.
When Andy takes something on, he's totally like, that is it, blinkered. He's doing it. End of story. And with Herc, I mean, he loved Herc, and he wasn't giving up on him at any time.
When I came back and I looked at him and I said, "He is there." Because I had this instinct in me, he was alive.
Andy searched by himself for another 12 days, but still found nothing. Hercules had been missing for 3 weeks.
In my heart, I said, "He's there. Hercules is not dead. He's that big bear to swim with. They go everywhere. Why should he die? Too easy for him to die."
Finally, Hercules, the grizzly bear which went missing in the Outer Hebrides last month, has been seen alive and apparently well.
You actually saw the bear?
Yes.
From what distance?
It'd be about a mile or so. Yes.
And what was he doing?
He was just walking across the moors, you know.
We chased it for 3 or 4 miles, and then it eluded us altogether.
Oh, it was just like the sun had come out. It was amazing. Andy was right. His boy was still there.
I knew he was there. Something in me told me that. I said, "He's alive." I told the press, I told everybody that, and they said, "No, he's dead."
Hercules was alive, but still on the loose. The sighting again turned the small Scottish island into a media circus. Doors were barricaded and children locked away in classrooms for their own safety. Andy hired a helicopter. He called on old friend Eddie Orbill and vet George Rafferty to try and capture Hercules by shooting him with a tranquilizer dart. But the police were concerned that after 3 weeks on the run, Hercules could be wild and dangerous. They feared he could attack the islanders. Out of earshot of Andy, they told George that if Hercules couldn't be tranquilized, then he must shoot to kill.
When I got on board, I said to the pilot, I said, if we happen to kill this bear, we're going to fly straight to the mainland because we're not going to meet Andy again. He would have gone berserk.
As Eddie and George crisscrossed the bear-coloured island, Andy was unaware that Hercules' life was in grave danger.
We were up for nearly 8 hours searching. Towards the end of the afternoon, evening, the bear was spotted.
Amazingly, the pilot spotted him down on the edge of a loch. Hercules dived in on seeing him and swam across.
The pilot managed to herd him, and he got on shore and started running again. And I fired the dart. The wind caught it from the propellers. It just went in the ground somewhere.
We had another dart ready, and he loaded that, and he said to the pilot, can you stop the engine just for a few seconds?
So when we were over him again, he cut the engine briefly, and I fired the dart.
The bear was moving and the helicopter was moving.
I got him.
Hercules' 24-day adventure had ended, but his ordeal wasn't over. Without an antidote to the tranquilizer, he'd be dead in 30 minutes. The race was on to get him to safety.
And suddenly, Hercules wasn't a bear on the run. If Hercules could survive this, he would become quite some bear.
After 24 days on the run, Hercules had been tranquilized and caught, but his life was now hanging in the balance.
Once you knock any bear out, you must bring him round again with another jab within half an hour.
He had already been unconscious for 25 minutes, and vet George Rafferty was desperate to bring him round. But the amount of people in the coach was putting Hercules' life at risk.
I said, I'm going to revive this bear, so if you all get out the cage and watch from the outside, some animals, when they're revived, become aggressive. All these reporters and cameramen and so on, they didn't move. And I said, come on, out you go. So I said, well, I gave it intramuscularly, and he came round. I made sure I was near the door to get out.
Hercules was alive, but in terrible condition. During his escapade, he had lost nearly half of his body weight.